One. Okay, here we are. Yet another webinar. Thank you, everybody. What are we going to talk about today? Here's Greg. He knows the agenda.
All right.
He's going to tell us.
Thank you, Victor. Hi, everybody. My name is Greg Chase. I'm the head of product marketing here at Upbound. I gotta remember which company I work for now.
Wait, look at yourself only. You just need to look at yourself in the picture.
I know. I'm on brand.
It's a reminder.
But yeah, so this is my first webinar for Upbound, so apologies if I slipped a bit there. But we're here to talk about a Mondo new release of the Upbound platform, where we are helping you elevate your platform engineering with Crossplane and Upbound. And we are pleased as punch, just in time for KubeCon to launch a raft of new platform engineering tools for Crossplane and a bunch of new Upbound core platform capabilities. So Victor, let's kind of get into it, but I guess first we have a bit of housekeeping. If you would like to submit a question to us to answer live about the stuff we are presenting, you can enter them into the YouTube chat channel and we will see them. We will try to answer some of them along the way, and then we will have a question and answer period at the end. So with that,
by the way, if you're watching it from Upbound, go to YouTube if you want to, because it's streaming there as well, if you want to ask questions. So YouTube comments are questions, to be clear.
All right. Well, why don't we talk about what we're launching in a nutshell here, Victor? And really, it comes down to two major categories of capabilities. First, we have totally revamped the software development lifecycle of Crossplane to make it support a project-based approach. And so we're going to show you a bunch of new tools that we have released for this. And then we have a bunch of new core platform services in the Upbound platform, both for SaaS and for the business critical customers that are self-hosting. You get these features as well. And these will really make dramatic improvements to our security, improve the robustness of the platform, and allow you to deliver more value to your end users faster.
The way I like to summarize it, if you're not a masochist, if you want to have easier time, you might want to continue watching.
All right, let's dig into this, Victor.
What shall we start with? Shall we go easy and start with the open source, Crossplane? Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay, then let's bring in guests. We have many guests today, but two that we are going to start with is Jared. Hey, Jared. Greg. Hey, Greg. And here's the slideshow of Jared. He has updates on the open source part of the story, Crossplane itself.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Victor. Both of them.
Right on. So yeah, so we're going to talk about some updates from the Crossplane project first before we get into some more depth and exciting stuff about all the Upbound product stuff. So let's jump on into it. I think that there may be some folks on the stream today that don't have a great idea yet what Crossplane is. So we'll cover that first before we get into some more specific details. So the way I like to think about Crossplane is that it's a framework to build your own cloud native control plane. I like to think of it in two layers. Also, the first layer is that it's a control plane that's managing basically all of your infrastructure. You declare the resources you want, and the always-on control plane will create them, keep reconciling them, managing them, keeping them healthy. Arguably more interesting, though, is layer two, where you could take those resources and compose them together into higher-level custom abstractions. Granular infrastructure resources aren't that useful just by themselves. So they're a lot more powerful when they're combined together. So as a platform engineer, you can codify your golden path, your config, your policy, the complexity of your organization, and then offer that as a simplified abstraction to your developers so they can self-service, get the infrastructure they need when they need it, and do it safely also. All right. Quick history lessons done. So what has Crossplane been up to in most recent releases? So the first thing is the v1.18 release that's literally from 2 days ago, less than 48 hours or so. So it's fresh off the presses, super hot, and available for folks to install into the control planes now. something I'm always really excited about is continuing to see the community grow and kind of be solving awesome problems on their own, right? Folks come to the project, they have a problem, a bug, or a missing feature or whatever, and they're writing the code and they're doing it to help everyone else in the community to solve those problems too. So it's amazing to see that. And we've gone ahead and written a getting started guide, a contributor getting started guide. So if you want to get involved, write code, help out the upstream community, there's lots of different ways to do that as well. All right, functions, they're critical in Crossplane. They have now matured to V1. They're stable. They're seeing great adoption across the ecosystem as well. If you don't know what functions are, they basically let you compose resources together like we were talking about, but with a simple pipeline of very flexible logic and languages as well. There's all sorts of configuration languages, programming languages that are supported now, and it kind of makes the experience for building your platform and composing resources together very expressive, flexible, powerful. It's quite nice, and they're V1, stable, and ready for everyone's production control planes. A longstanding problem we've had in Crossplane is that there is a lack of observability and insight. So in the last couple releases, we've made an investment there to put high-level metrics, observability stuff, details about specifically what Crossplane is doing, what the providers are doing, if things are healthy, et cetera. So that really helps with the observability story in Crossplane. And then finally, this was mostly focused on in that 1.18 release we were talking about from 48 hours ago. So very, very fresh. There was a lot of investments in the package manager and kind of improving the experience around it. So that manages basically all the extensions to Crossplane, functions, configurations, providers, all that sort of stuff. And it's a lot better to use now. So, for instance, you can take private repositories and streamline the usage of those. That used to be a pain to try to use private repositories, which bit a lot of people. It's quite nice now. And then also we'll go ahead and automatically update dependencies as well. If you install a package, it's got a dependency on another package. That used to never get updated. So now it'll get automatically updated over time. Keep your control plane safe, up to date. Awesome. Finally, where's Crossplane going? So a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, there's a ton of velocity. The project continues to be on fire, right? And so the next thing that I really want to accomplish here is that with the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, we hope to be graduating. After KubeCon here, we'll be starting the due diligence process with the Technical Oversight Committee. So big step, exciting step, and look for more news on that over the coming months. Now, next thing, there's an awesome feature that's just in the runtime of Crossplane right now. It's not rolled out to the providers yet, so it's not fully usable. But basically, it's kind of lets you audit everything the providers are doing, what changes they're making to all your resources in the cloud, why they're doing it. So that will be rolled out across all the providers and available for everyone over the next couple months as well. So look out for that. And then the general theme of Crossplane as a project is mature, but as new features come in, they start at more of an immature level, right? And there's a bunch of really awesome features that folks are starting to use. We've got great feedback from the community, and folks want to use them in production as well. So we'll continue, investing in those, maturing them, getting them to stable as well, so that all these awesome features that the community is building together is available for production too. Craig, I think you've got more to talk about for Upbound, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to make this brief because I want folks to get ahead so we can see all the amazing features that have been built. But for those who are unfamiliar, maybe you're a member of the Crossplane community and you're not sure who is Upbound and what do we do. So we're the company that started the Crossplane project, but we also have the Upbound marketplace, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, where we have official providers that the community has adopted. We also have a commercial offering, same name as the company, called Upbound. And the whole point of Upbound is to be the best place to start, run, and scale with Crossplane. Upbound is for platform builders. What we see is companies of all shapes and sizes. In today's digital age, living in the cloud, you've got all these different services that you're trying to build on top of. You're trying to improve your app developers' productivity. You're trying to drive security and compliance across all of your cloud usage. And maybe your on-prem or even hybrid usage, because we exist in this multi-cloud world of today. And in order to do that well, you need a control plane that offers APIs for your platform that you're building. And Crossplane is the right technology choice to do exactly that. And as Jared was talking about, there's a lot of great features that we've been working on with the community up in Crossplane. But to actually take Crossplane and go start with it, build on it, and scale it up, Upbound is the best place to do that. So we launched a SaaS product about 1.5 years ago, and we follow that up with now the ability to self-host core pieces of that product offering. So you can use Upbound in our cloud, in your cloud, on-prem. But the thing that we're really excited to unveil today is a first-class experience around building with Crossplane on Upbound. And then as part of that, a lot of great new benefits as part of being a subscriber to Upbound for the whether it's new experiences within the marketplace or new core services that we're launching. We're going to get into that. We're going to show you demos. But I'm going to stop yapping. Let's go ahead and Victor, back to you. Let's get into the fun demos.
To fun demos, huh? Okay. Who should we start with? Okay, so here, first of all, Greg, you're out, and Jared out as well. We're going to switch now to two people who really, really, really dislike writing YAML. I think that their mission is to get rid of YAML and get rid of VI, and that's Eddie and Adam. And I'm going to put your screen, and they're going to explain to all of you why writing YAML is not the best idea and doing it in VI.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Eddie, and I work on the product team here at Upbound, and my area of focus is DevX. And so I'm really excited to walk you through some of the new developer experience improvements that will make working with Crossplane more streamlined and productive and less of YAML writing for you. So the first concept that I really want to introduce is a concept called control plane projects. This is our new approach to organizing and managing cross-plane configuration. And the beauty of it is that now your control planes are basically represented as source code. Now it almost feels like a true programmatic experience. These projects will give you a clear structure for maintaining your code, maintaining any organization across configurations, manage dependencies more effectively, share and version your control plane code. And this is like the bedwork that brings the best practices from application development into control plane development. To enable quick development with control plane projects, we have made several enhancements to the Up CLI. That's going to make your daily workflow smoother. You'll find new commands for initiating a control plane project, a new command for scaffolding out claims, generating XRDs from claims, so you won't have to write XRDs by hand anymore. Generate compositions from the XRDs that you've generated, and then be able to generate composition functions. Once again, just using these, using the commands from the Up CLI. After you're done authoring your compositions, you'll be able to build your entire control plane project with a single command, and then push it to the marketplace, and also be able to take all that configuration, put it into a control plane so that you can quickly test and iterate and refine whatever you are building with in Crossplane. And for those that live in VS Code, we've created an extension and Experence for the KCL language and the Python language specifically that really makes the IDE your friend. You are going to now start seeing linting for missing fields or misaligned variable types, and auto completion of schema as you write your compositions. And that is, I think, going to be a massive game changer in the developer experience. And my partner Adam here is going to show a cool demo of this in about 1 or 2 minutes. In addition, we're introducing a new concept called embedded functions. That's going to give you more flexibility in composition. Think of this as being able to write custom logic in modular format for your compositions, so that your YAML file doesn't become like thousands of lines. No reason to write all your composition functions in one file anymore. This is going to open up new possibilities for building sophisticated control planes while keeping your configurations clean and maintainable. And lastly, development MCPs. These are lightweight, development-focused control planes that can spin up almost instantaneously for testing. It uses minimal resources, and so it's perfect for rapid iteration and local development of your control planes. And it's going to really make your developer experience cycle efficient and lean. And all of these improvements that I've just discussed are going to work together to create a more cohesive developer experience for you, whether you are new to Crossplane or an experienced platform builder, we feel very confident that these tools will help you become more productive and just provide you with a more delightful experience altogether. And now I'd love to show you all these features in action, but Adam is on the call, and he is the technical lead for the DevX project. And Adam, feel free to take it away with the demo.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. So I'm going to really quickly run through the sort of end-to-end process of building out a new control plane project. And I'm going to do it here all in VS Code. I actually usually write my YAML in Emacs, but today I'm going to use VS Code because I think that's a more popular choice maybe. So to start with, we're going to create a new project. So we're going to use up project init, and we'll call our project live demo because we're live demoing here. And then I can open that folder up here in VS Code. And we'll see what it created for us. So it's kind of scaffolded out this project. It's got our upbound.yaml file, which is our project configuration. And then we've got a few directories here. We've got APIs, which is where we're going to keep our API definitions that the consumers of our platform will interact with. We've got examples, which maybe is self-explanatory. And we've got functions, which are the embedded functions that Eddie just mentioned. And like Jared was saying earlier, functions are kind of the new way to build stuff in Crossplane. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to add a provider. And we're going to add the S3 provider to our project using this up-dev add command. That's going to add it to our project as a dependency and add it to our cache locally. And if we look in our upbound.yaml file, we'll see now we have this dependency here. So that's what that did. And then our next step is going to be to generate an example. And the reason we start with an example is we want to kind of start with the way that our users are going to interact with the platform. And then we'll work backwards from there to turn it into the resources that we actually want in the cloud. So we're going to generate a claim. We're going to call it bucket, and we'll just keep the other defaults here. And we can see in our examples now, this nice YAML file showed up. And now it's empty right now, but we can add the parameters that we want people to fill in when they create a bucket. So we're going to do that. And we're just going to give it one parameter today. We're going to give it a region parameter so that when you create a bucket, you can tell us which AWS region you want it in.
So this is basically inverting the order, right? Instead of you creating XRD or definition first, you create what would be the end user experience, right?
That's right, exactly. And I'll show right now the reason why we are going that way is then we can do XRD generate and give it our example. And this is going to generate the XRD or the definition of the resource based on that example using these parameters that we put in. And if we take a look at our definition.yaml, this is the XRD. And previously, you would have had to write this by hand and understand how OpenAPI works and all this stuff. And I don't like writing YAML that much. So this is a much better experience for me, at least, to have this scaffolded. And if I want to edit this myself afterwards to make some tweaks or add required fields or things like that, I can still do that. There's nothing stopping me from doing it, but I have it set up for me from the beginning, which is great. So we have now our example. We've got our XRD. We're going to generate a composition, and a composition is what tells Crossplane how to make resources out of this composite resource that we have built. And so we get this composition.yaml file, and it's very bare bones right now. It just has one step in its pipeline, which is auto ready. So when your resources that you compose become ready, the claim will become ready. But we still need now to add another function here. And that other function is what's going to actually compose our resources. So we're going to do that with function generate. And I'm going to use Python today. We support Python and KCL in this experience. But I'll use Python today for fun. So we can see when I ran that, it added a step into my pipeline, which is going to run my new custom function called compose bucket. And it also created over here this compose bucket function in my functions directory. And it has a main.py, which has some default stuff in it. It would take me a few minutes to actually write this, so I'm just going to paste it in today and pretend that I wrote all that code really fast. But just to show off the nice features we have here, you can mouse over things and you get some definitions and stuff like that. You can also get auto completion. So if we do this, we can see we have a region field, and we can fill that in with our region that we've set up here. You can use all the nice features that you have in Python if you know Python from previous work, or if you want to use KCL as well, that's the other option. So this is going to just create an S3 bucket. It's going to take the region from the parameters that we had in that XRD that we built, and it's going to tell Crossplane that we would like one of those. And so that's kind of the dev experience that we have now. And the next thing I'll do is get this up and running on a control plane by doing up project run. And this will take a minute, and then we'll be able to see it in action. Victor, are there questions while we wait for this to
I have a question. So it's Python and KCL, yay, because KCL is my favorite. Any others?
Yeah.
What are the options that people have or will have or might have?
Yeah, so we are going to take a data-driven approach. We're going to take surveys on what languages customers would like next. And the one that we've been hearing the most so far is Go. And so that is definitely on our radar. Of course, we also have, patch and transform and Go templating out. That's like the most popular use. And so we're going to wait and see if customers want enhancements for that, or if they love this new experience and they're going to move away from that altogether. But for now, Go is definitely on our radar, and there's going to be more to come.
If somebody feels very strongly towards one or the other, how can they contact you? Slack, email?
Yeah, absolutely.
Carrier pigeons?
Reach out to us. In the blog post that we have announced, there are links at the bottom where we put in a CTA where customers can click on that and then send emails to us. And all of that is definitely in our radar. On the Crossplane community Slack channels, feel free to post like, hey, I would like this language. Like all of that data is being accounted for when we make decisions here on the product team. And so, yeah, here's Go mentioned again, and C# is another one. And so these are all valuable inputs, and we'll have more language support coming out.
Yeah. So thanks, Eddie. Thanks, Victor. Now, so the last thing I'll show here, now we have our control plane actually up and running. It took 25 seconds, so that was pretty quick. And now I can actually apply our example with kubectl. Actually, first I need to select my control plane here with upctx. And if I apply my example claim into my control plane, then I can pop over into the Upbound console. And this is that control plane that was just created for me. It's called live demo. And if I come in here to claims, I can see that my example bucket claim is synced and ready. I've got a cool graph view that shows the resources that were composed for it. And if I had added like an ACL or something else, that would show up here as well. And there's also our consumer experience. This is where you would go if you were not a platform engineer, just a regular engineer who wanted to create a bucket. You can come and click on your bucket, see the details, see some events about it. You can also hit create and create one. I think we'll get more of a demo of this part later, but we get all the fields that you might want to fill in. right there in the UI. So there's a nice like graphical experience for creating these buckets if you don't want to write any YAML at all.
Okay.
And that's it for the live demo.
I have a question for Adam before you go before we end off with you. Are we going to convert you to VS Code yet with this new support?
Probably not. The nice thing is all of these features actually work in any editor that supports the language server protocol. So if you have the Python language server, the KCL language server, our own Crossplane language server, that should actually work in Emacs or in Vim. And I know we have some folks here at Upbound who use it all in Vim. So if you want to stick with an editor that's not VS Code, that does work as well.
I believe that Craig had something to add.
Yeah,
He was
yeah, I got a couple
signaling me
things.
behind the scenes.
So very important thing that maybe hasn't been spoken about yet is look, if you notice on Adam's screen, under Adam's test org, there's a free label, which means that you're seeing this. There was a question that was asked in the comments of, hey, you know, is this only available in Upbound? But yes, it's in Upbound tooling. But here's the great news. Everyone in the Crossplane community can now go to Upbound, sign up for a free account, free forever, and you get access to all of this whole experience for free. There's no trial date. Previously, we had just a trial, 30-day trial, but now anyone in the Crossplane community can come to Upbound, make your free account, and get access to all of this great experience, this tooling, the development control plane, the entire end-to-end lifecycle. And we want you as the Crossplane community to come build with us. Totally cool. And by the way, if you're seeing this and you're like, hey, you know, I don't use KCL or I don't use Python, am I out of luck for this experience? No, you can still use projects. Those different functions that we're putting in, we've designed built-in great experiences that work really well for those two languages. But you're welcome to go add your own function that's from the Crossplane community that you could find in the marketplace, or go build your own composition function, or use, you know, the existing Crossplane patch and transform function. All of that stuff is totally compatible. The end-to-end experience we've designed for those two languages, but you're not limited to them. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, I wanted to answer that question and use it as a perfect transition for to Craig to hop on, but he beat me to the punch. So yeah, basically these tools are available for everyone, and I think it's a commitment to show how much we care about growing the Crossplane ecosystem, and so we're really excited to share these tools with everyone. And please go try it out, and don't forget to give us feedback, because your feedback is the most appreciated.
Victor, you're muted?
Oh, sorry. This is the moment. I'm going to remove Eddie. Enough of you. Adam, you're out. Greg, you stay in. And Javid as well. Talk to us about what we already mentioned, Upbound.
So if the development experience is not compelling enough, which, by the way, last night I spent 5 hours writing this huge set of compositions for bringing up like an app service, well-architected deployment. And what would have taken me thousands of lines of patch and transform YAML, I did it in hundreds of lines of KCL. If that's not compelling enough, we've got more. So as part of this whole launch, you've got the free tier that I just mentioned. We also have now a team tier that's in Upbound. And that is a paid tier, but for this launch, we're offering an introductory period where that's free. We'll get into that in just a minute. So when you come into Upbound, then the other value that you get is you have core platform services that are available for you just out of the box. So think about when you're actually building with Crossplane and you're running an instance of Crossplane, what else do you need to do? Well, you need secrets integration, and you need the ability to back up and restore your control planes. It's powering your platform. You need the ability to observe everything that's going on inside your control plane, right? All of those things. When you come to Upbound and you used Upbound to run your Crossplane and you scale it that way, you get those out of the box. And more importantly, we know that people who are building platforms want easy ways to offer interfaces to your users of those platforms. And we have, for that, this new consumer portal experience, which I think Adam already teased a little bit. But this is a brand new set of new services that we offer, among a couple others. I've invited Javid today to join me on the call to walk through and share how he uses these things with our customers. And Javid, take it away.
Yeah, so Adam did take a little bit of my thunder today, but I mean, for when you're using Upbound, if you trialed or looked at our console experience previously, you may be familiar with this interface, which is by and large targeting like the management of your control planes. So if I go and look at like my production interface from supporting my consumer services group, you can see that I have a handful of claims currently deployed. I can look at my cluster and see all the resources that are associated with this specific claim and what I have deployed. And everything's ready. Fantastic. But that's for the operator. Many of our consumers don't really want to deal with the YAML. They don't want to manually author that YAML. So continue on the trend of the fact that you don't have to be a YAML wizard to be able to consume and operate and work with Upbound. We now have our portal experience. So for that exact same control plane we were just looking at, the existing claims, now I have this wonderful new interface that I can expose to my users, and I'm working with our customers in order to be able to expose these APIs for their cloud they have built their way to then be able to leverage it. So in that, like right now, for instance, so I have this consumer services group that I'm supporting. They have their EKS cluster, they and a handful of databases, except for the fact that right now the request has come through the fact that they need to create a new database. They want to be able to deploy something new. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's create a new claim here on top of our others, and we're going to do this live. So I'm going to, you have the option still of leveraging YAML, and actually I'm going to grab a little bit here to copy and paste in for pre-populating this, except for the fact that what I have done for this YAML, for my SQL instance I'm creating, is filled in the fact that I'm going to be deploying Postgres 15.7. It's going to be leveraging the same network I've created for my production interface, deploying US West 2, 5 storage gigabytes. I'm leveraging the exact same API in order to be able to create my resource that my consumers can now be able to leverage and see when their resource is ready to be able to consume, leveraging the secrets that have been injected into my control plane. And I can watch this deployment go through as the operator inside of my control plane for all the resources that are currently being created and now being synced. Now, this is great from the consumption part, but there's something else as well that is a challenge that we have when we're working with our control planes. So for the fact, it's not just like one control plane we're talking about anymore. We're talking about many control planes over many clouds, which can be a bit of a challenge to deal with. So if I go switch my context right now, I'm going to go look at my production control plane and see exactly what's happening with all of my claims. So I can see here instantly for this control plane, being able to, for one control plane, being able to look at my claims, the status and everything. But you know, maybe there's some kind of an issue here that deployment just went through. So let's go ahead and look at all of my managed entities. I want to briefly pause here and call out, this was instantaneous for the query on my control plane in order to be able to see what's happening here for my production instance, except for the fact that I'm, you know, it's not just for prod that I need to worry about. This is for the fact my entire consumer services group that I want to look at. Let's.
And Javid, I'm going to give a little color commentary here for the folks following along at home. So, you know, one of the things about Crossplane is by its very nature, it's often cluster scoped. And I know that many of you are building platforms that have multiple tenants served, right? Different business units, different app teams, perhaps different customers. And the way to operate that with Crossplane, we believe, is using a control plane, a Crossplane instance as a boundary for a set of accounts, for a business unit, for some organizational structure. And once you do that, then you're dealing with running multiple control planes. Now, if you don't want to manage those control planes, the core Crossplane, the providers, all that stuff, and you have to grapple with all of the state that you're now dealing with for different teams across different control planes, it gets very complex quickly if you're doing it on your own. But with Upbound, Javid is showing off these interfaces that we offer that lets you reach across multiple Crossplane instances at once instantaneously.
On top of the fact that when we're looking at these managed resources as well, if you're familiar with Crossplane running like kube control get managed, that can take quite an extended period of time and is not the ideal experience whatsoever when you're trying to manage multiple control planes. And I do apologize for, like, of course, doing it live, you're going to fat finger some of the commands and crossing wires for the APIs, where instead of doing query claim, I'm saying get claims for the various CLIs we interact with every single day. But while Craig was speaking, I switched over to my consumer services for the entire group. So for all of my control plans, you may from earlier on, for the fact I'm looking at my prod and test instances on AWS, as well as my production and test instances for Azure, across my multiple regions I'm currently working with. And now I'm able to see everything for this entire group that I'm supporting right now. And I'm working with these deployment for their clusters and for their databases and for all of their resources that are being managed. I am able to drill in and get exact instances and be able to manage that. And that extends as well for all of the managed entities. Or I can say get managed, except this is going to be querying for control planes.
I think you ran it up, up there.
Yeah,
Just up
no,
a
I
little
ran it on the wrong context.
Joys of doing a live demo, right?
Yep, every single time.
At least it didn't blue screen of death for you.
It's good because
Especially-
it proves that you're not an AI avatar or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not AI.
He's a real
it's not-
person.
So
We
ultimately,
cannot
though,
be
like,
sure for
looking at
Greg.
this
Greg
for-
sounds like AI guy, but
Well, I'm entirely-
Habib is the real one.
Yeah, exactly. So in this, so we're like really what it's been able to show is for like when we're looking at taking this and leveraging the capability to build our environments our way, building on the blocks with the hyperscalers are enabling, you can have for a specific business group their control plane, specific development team their control plane, their specific application control plane based on the scale of what you need. And you can switch between the context easily to be able to manage that, look at the managed resources, be able to query appropriately. And all of this is made much easier from the management perspective. In addition, for the portal perspective, we're bubbling that up to our consumers in order for them to be able to not even have to worry about the YAML and have this nice form experience to be able to consume from the consumer perspective and then manage more easily from the platform engineers.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. I want to circle back to one other thing. When you're showing off the consumer portal, so you went the way where you inputted the YAML directly just for convenience. But I'm sure folks are going to be looking at that and say, Upbound, are you suggesting that I do ClickOps? No, not at all. Not at all. We know a lot of folks want to do GitOps. And one way that you can do that with the consumer portal is you can offer this as an easy form experience out of the box. You don't have to go figure out how to build anything in Backstage. It's just there for you. You can offer this as a form experience so that you can come in as a consumer, fill out the form, right? Javid, if you just punch in something into one of these fields, and we will generate the YAML for you, and then your user can go take that, copy the YAML, and just, fill out maybe another field here to get the YAML going. Or it might need all the fields to be filled out that are required. Anyways, the YAML will get built out. You can copy that and then go put it into a Git repo, and then that will initiate your GitOps experience. And this is quite the gnarly form. I think we got a couple other required fields up top.
Oh, which one am I missing? And this is true. MariaDB. Oh, network ref. That is the problem.
And then the password as well.
My test password with my test key, my test namespace.
Go ahead and collapse it.
Test name.
There we go. Thank you. Okay. So it's got to be valid YAML before it fully built, or a valid form. And so in that way, Javid didn't have to know to go and build out this claim on his own. He used the form to do that. And then you can copy that into Git, roll it out with GitOps.
That's a really nice shortcut. I bet Adam would even like that.
Okay, we're out of time. Greg, you're out, and Habib as well, and your screen. And we're gonna put back Greg's screen because he's going to talk to us about money.
All right. Well, let's talk about how you can get access to all of these new capabilities we just showed you. And in fact, the first one, you do not need money because it's entirely free. And this is the new individual plan. It is built for developers of Crossplane. It's suited for people that want to learn and build with Crossplane. And so this gives you access to all of the builder tools that we showed you at the beginning of this live stream. It gives you capability or the ability to deploy to SaaS, make use of this new developer control plane for testing. It lets you basically set up a small prototype of a platform for yourself. It gives you access to the single sign-on through Google and GitHub. It gives you access to official packages, which actually we'll cover in more detail in a bit. And of course, you can always ask for help in the Crossplane community Slack. The next new tier we're making available is Team. This is a new lower cost access plan that is really built for developing small Crossplane projects. Maybe you just are building your first project for your first team. Maybe you want to run a pilot. So this gives you all the builder capabilities that we just talked about in individual, but you can also invite your team to collaborate with you on the building and access of this of these control planes. So of course, now you've got people coming in, so you're going to need RBAC, and you can attach your robot accounts. And then this gives you an additional access to maintenance versions of the official packages, again, which we'll explain in more detail. Let me talk about the pricing bit a little bit here. So I said individual is free. It's for one control plane for one user, hence individual. And we give you a capacity of 200,000 loops per month free. Now, what the heck is a loop? A loop is an Upbound metric that basically is one managed resource hour. So in other words, we give you 200,000 hours of managed resources per month. That's about enough to run, I think it's 277 managed resources continuously for 30 days. Should you consume all of these loops at the end, the account halts, but you get refreshed again the next month, and this account is always free. On the team side, you don't just run one control plane, you run several control planes. We'll give you a capacity to do 5. You can do things like have a couple of different teams. You might have a staging. And then for capacity, again, it starts with the 200,000 loops per month free. Right now, today, we are not charging for team because we actually want lots of people to try out this new capability. So it is actually totally free until January. So sign up and try these with your team to try things out for free. But when we do start charging, it will be when you go over the 200,000 loops, there is additional charges per loop. And then you just true up at the end of the month when the subscription renews. So as I was implying, it is a month-to-month commitment, and the starting price is $1,000 per month plus the additional loop. We still have the existing plans that we did before with the enterprise and the business critical. So this gives you access to premium features such as the backup restore we talked about, secrets management, the new telemetry collector, and then you get access to the Upbound support. Upbound support team directly, and then business critical gives you access to the self-hosted and disconnected capabilities. You get the Argo CD plugin, and you get our business critical 24/7, 7 days a week support. And I see there's a question in there about what if I want to buy a longer term. We are planning to have an annual purchase plan for this as well. More details on that in January when we will start charging for the team capability.
That's it? Okay,
That is
brilliant.
all.
So if somebody wants to talk with us, that person needs to get business critical.
It
Talk to
also
a
works.
human.
Yeah, so enterprise, yeah. Well, we figure if you want business critical, you probably have a unique situation, and you need to actually have your solution designed, whereas enterprise is a little more standard, and the team is pretty simple.
Okie dokie. Let's move on and talk about the important part of Crossplane, Upbound, and everything else, and that's providers. And for that, I think that we have Craig again. We cannot get rid of that guy. And Jason.
I just
And
kind of linger
Jason
around
is
here
going-
in the halls of
Yeah,
Upbound.
you're like a part of the furniture. You're always there.
All right, so yeah, the last big piece to bring it all home is let's talk about the marketplace, and let's talk about providers. As Victor, you were saying, providers are a very important building block for the whole community, right? They're the enabling glue that allows your control plane to go and reach out and talk to external services, whether that's Azure, GCP, or GitLab, GitHub, whatever, any other service. And there's a bunch of work that we've done and we've released for you today. And the focus is really on improving the security posture for the community and also new subscriber value that you get if you subscribe to Upbound with our official providers. The first thing here is we are making some changes to the access, support, and maintenance policies for official providers. Going forward, if you want production support on official providers, that will be for Upbound subscribers. But very importantly, if you're in the Crossplane community and you're using our official providers on your own, you can still access them. We're not taking away access at all. It's for production support and maintenance. So we think that's a fair balance for folks who are going into production, that is something that you would pay Upbound for. And as part of this whole thing, everyone in the community gets these following benefits for our official providers. There's now a better security posture. We're building these things from a distro-less image. We now offer a software bill of materials that you can see here right in the marketplace for each given version of a provider package, what is contained inside there. There is now the ability to verify that these all come signed from Upbound now, these official packages do. And you can verify that on Crossplane or using industry standard tooling. And Jason's going to show that off in just a minute. And most importantly, when we think back to that new development experience that was being shown off with the resource schemas and the completion and the descriptions all within VS Code, that's powered thanks to some of the changes we've made to our official providers, which now package up all of the required bits to have that experience work. So this means if you're using our official providers, it's going to give you that really amazing development experience. So Jason, you're on the call today too. Do you want to show off and talk around a little bit more some of the stuff that your team's been driving on the marketplace?
Yeah, thanks, Craig. I'm not quite as bold as Javid or Adam doing a full-on live demo in the terminal. I'll literally just be kind of showing off some of the new features here on a new release of one of the official providers here. But want to quickly talk first about why do we start thinking about this or doing this? And I think if we look back the last couple of years, right, like the industry's kind of reached this point where consumers of open source software are demanding the ability to trust what's in that software, right, where it comes from, and that it hasn't been tampered with, right, during the process of building and delivering it to the consumer. So thankfully, in the industry, there are formal specifications like Salsa. There's projects like SigStore that have kind of set the standard, right, for establishing software artifact provenance and cryptographic measures to prove that the software was produced by a specific entity. So in the case of Upbound official providers, by Upbound. And then what you're getting as a consumer also hasn't been tampered with. So if you look here, there's a neat new SBOM tab, right, which is the software bill of materials. What's presented here in this table view is definitely simplified, right? So it doesn't kind of overload you with a lot of information, and you can even search for. I'm pretty sure this uses client Go. Yeah, specific dependencies if you're kind of looking for it. For those of you that would care to maybe verify the SBOM and maybe run some scorecard tools against it, you can also download it in its entirety here with a simple button. And then over on the provenance tab, Craig talked about how we now sign all of our images and also test as well. So you can use some industry standard tooling, in this case, cosign, which is part of the SigStore project, to essentially verify that this specific image, you can just copy this command straight from the marketplace UI, run it, and it'll essentially verify that yes, this was signed by Upbound with this particular identity, and we have a certificate to prove it. And as Craig mentioned as well, as of Crossplane 118, right, you can also kind of, if you're very serious and have strict requirements about artifact provenance and security, configure that within Crossplane. So Crossplane would perform signature verification on your behalf on any package that that Crossplane would attempt to install. So that's a nice option there as well. All right, that's all I have to show. So back to you, Craig.
Yeah, so I just want to be very clear about some of these changes. There's a blog post that's available today, pinned by Bassam Tabara, our CEO, about the changes that we're making or updates we're making to the Upbound official provider program that spells out very clearly the updated access, maintenance, and support. So please go and read that. The very important thing to understand is those providers remain available for the whole Crossplane community. It's the production support is what we're going to be charging for, and that's to help subsidize the significant effort and the cost of maintaining these packages to enterprise standards. Our approach is designed to balance the needs of the community while ensuring that enterprises with those stringent security and support requirements pay for the benefits that we invest into these official providers.
Okay, let's move on. Actually, we are at the end of planned subjects. We're going to do some recap, but let me go through a couple of questions that we got that we haven't covered yet. And while we're going through them, if anybody else has any question, anything, type it in. To use your fingers. Okay, and let's go with I'm not sure I can pronounce the name Avarei, let's say. What are your plans with the alpha features, usages, and store configs? Are you happy with them, or do you plan to move them more towards deprecation? And I'm going to put everybody else just in case. I suspect that Jared would be the person to answer that one, but who knows? Here's everybody.
Nice. Hey, everybody's back for the party. I will take this one.
Yeah.
So as I was mentioning, a big part of the Crossplane project continues to be maturing some of these important features that folks are using and giving us early feedback on. Usages is definitely one of those. That's an alpha feature, and we would like to invest soon to mature it to beta and continue onwards past that. We were hoping to do that in the 1.18 milestone, but with all the other work that we're doing here, that didn't quite make the cut. So I can expect that to be a priority sometime soon. And then store configs, we did at the community level in the upstream project, we had a proposal out to deprecate that. We did get a lot of feedback though, in ways that folks were using that we didn't quite expect. So the plan right now is that's not going to be something we're going to deprecate right now. And then I can imagine with a strong integration of that type of secrets handling, external secret store functionality being integrated into Upbound products sometime too.
Victor, I'm reading your lips right now because you are once again muted.
Oh, look at me. I need to unmute myself. There we go. From Marcus, monitoring. What are we doing about that? On either side, open source, Upbound. Who wants to take it over?
Yeah, I'll take a stab at that. So, as part of the core platform services that we offer on Upbound, there's an integrated shared telemetry collection, is what it's called. Observability offering basically out of the box that we didn't demo, but it was there in the console. And what that allows you to do is collect all of the logs, metrics, and traces from stuff running on your control planes in Upbound, and you can ship that out to whatever observability solution that you prefer, whether that's Datadog or New Relic or Splunk, any of those, as long as they support OTel integration, then you can ship them anywhere. That's what we offer. And that's out of box for you.
Okay, we'll wait for a few more minutes if somebody types the last set of questions or question. In the meantime, Greg, you want to summarize? What did we hear? Just for those who were not paying attention so far.
Yeah, no worries. So what we showed you today was two major categories of capabilities. Was a new developer experience for Crossplane, covering everything from project starts and scaffolding to coding in VS Code. And so I hear maybe the other IDs as well with supporting the capabilities of things like code completion and linting, and then the ability to test your compositions in a live control plane using the new developer control plane in the Upbound SaaS. And this capability is available for free with an individual plan. We also announced a bunch of new core platform services. So things like the new query API, the new self-service portal, the telemetry collector, and we talked about the security enhancements to the new official packages. And I don't see any new questions coming in here.
Which is quite okay because we are more or less at the top of the hour. Any of you present want to do the parting words, the end, something? Or did we say everything there is to be said?
Go make your free Upbound account and get started today. Start building on Upbound. Please, it's free. Go do it.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you so much. See you in the next one. See you in Salt Lake City. Whomever is coming will be there. Most of us, or all of us, I think. Who knows? Anyways, see you.